Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of Weekends with Amit for 2023. I believe all of you had a beautiful start to the new year, and your resolutions, as we discussed in the last episode, are perfectly in place. So, we are in a sweet spot to start this year with a bang. And what better way to talk about a new year than to talk about creativity, to talk about symbology, and to talk about the jest for life and growth and be more creative. Accordingly, today's subject is Siva's dance. Now, if we look at this, the concept is very, very old, centuries old, millennia old, so to speak. But it has so much in it than just a dancing figure. And what's in it? We will learn from our guests, Professor Amit Goswami and Dr. Valentina Onisor.
Thank you, Krishanu.
A
Hi,
very warm welcome and a happy new year to both of you.
Happy New Year.
Thank
Happy New
you.
Year.
So today's subject is Shiva's dance. And right away, without wasting any time, over to Professor Goswami.
Hello, everyone. It is wonderful to start the new year with talking about Shiva's dance. Shiva, you see, is an outsider. He is the forever outsider. He does things that is not socially popular. That's what it means to be an outsider. He is a rebel. In the hero's journey, as codified by Carl Jung, he is given the title of rebel. He is the prodigal son in the New Testament, Shiva. But of course, Shiva is very kind, wonderful person in his heart. And he is loved by a wonderful lady. Unfortunately, because the lady loves Shiva, she has to constantly hear malignment of Shiva. He roams around with wrong friends, he eats the wrong food, he writes the wrong things, speaks the wrong things. Society just doesn't approve. So one day she had to tolerate her own father maligning her lover. And she could not take it anymore. She committed suicide. And when Shiva heard this, what is Shiva's reaction? So long, Shiva has been more talking about it. Now Shiva realizes that mere talking about it will not do. Now he has to illustrate the whole world how it works. And this is how he illustrated it, Shiva's dance. Look at this. Shiva is dancing, but every bit of this symbology is important. Look at what he's doing with the right foot. He's stomping all the obstacles that are arising, that wants to keep him down, that led to his lover's death. He stomps it. He completely destructures all the influence of the society on him, which was acting as a barrier. Now he's free. With the right foot, he stomps the obstacles. With the left foot, he creates the new. Destructuring of the old, and restructuring with creativity. This is the basic theme. Fire all around. That's a creative fire of transformation. What we now call supramental, energies of the supramental. Love, beauty, justice, those archetypes. That's what he brings up. And in this dance, he first explores, gets the insight, and then manifests, embodies the insight within him. Shiva's dance. This is the human ideal. This is what we want to do with our life. Hero's journey, Shiva's journey, dancing Shiva's dance all the way, destructuring the old, inviting the new structure and society within us. It begins with us, it begins with the person. And then only we can teach a society how to change, how to embrace the new worldview. Today we are doing it with quantum worldview. The tired worldview of the old is materialism. Everything is matter philosophy. Look at what that has done to the world. Every day we hear a calamitous environmental catastrophe. Every day. Europe is having unprecedented warm spell right now. In America, there is the unprecedented flooding of the West Coast, entire highway flooding, showing it on TV. Amazing. And still, many people don't believe that unlimited spending of energy, reckless spending of energy, unnecessary spending of energy will do that to our environment. And still, we go on consuming. Our whole economy is based on consuming. Look at the weapons of war that we have created that continues war in not only in Ukraine but other places of the world. And now people are predicting that 2023 will be a year where there will be war even in more places. This is what materialist science has done to the society. I know many of you cannot make the distinction. But look, weapons building like this, making catastrophe in the environmental aspect, these are all done by our choice of worldview. Materialism, consumption, centering on me, pleasure, entertainment. Education is going down the docks. Guess what? Because of research emphasis on building artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence that will do human jobs. Yes, humans do tend to be conditioned, and computers can do those jobs better. But now what will humans do? Figure this out. What will humans do? Humans can only do what machines cannot do, what artificial intelligence cannot do. And this is what Shiva's dance is about. Humans can be creative, and that materialism cannot give us, that machines cannot give us. And this is where we have to go. No better way to celebrate 2023, the advent of 2023, than to promise that, yes, I have the energy, I have the gumption of being Shiva, I have the gumption of being Jesus, being Buddha, all the rebels of society, being Einstein, all the rebels of society, and make hero's journey come to reality in my life and influence the world and change the world. Valentina?
Yep. So yeah, it's such a wonderful idea that we started this year's Facebook talks, with Shiva, which is by far, if you want, my favorite, I call it. And I find this resonance with Shiva everywhere for me personally, but even more in India. So even my first visit to India was a lot in really, truly into this Shiva's bliss, let's say. I don't know how to explain. It's a lot of stories that I'm telling my students about, but just I think not many people here are very familiar with Shiva, and I want to just do a parallel a little bit with the Christian tradition also. So again, there are many scholars, Western scholars, who studied Kashmir Shivaism practices and theories, who noticed striking similarities between these traditions, Indian traditions, and Christianity. And if you want, the I mean, one of the secrets of resonance with Shiva is when we really understand deeply that our life is supported and infused by God's consciousness, and filled in this way with the bliss in this state of integration, that if we manage to live in the state, and cannot be actually object to any kind of limitation. So that even in quantum science, we emphasize very clearly about consciousness, that is the background of all being. Yeah. And in this way, nothing really is or remains an obstacle. Yeah. In this way. Now, again, I may talk about some transcendent aspects, but sooner or later, we all experience grace in various ways. And when we say Shiva or Shambhu or there are many other names and hypostases that we learn about Shiva, we refer to goodness mainly, and the divine good. Yeah. Again, God, it's of course beyond good or evil. But for us, when we say God or Shiva, we refer to something which is always good, and this manifestation of goodness, of grace, of love and compassion and help. We see it as the supreme guide and friend, if you want, and even more. So it is in Kashmir Shivaism, those who study, especially this current, we emphasize that Shiva is not just a god, a divine entity, but it's an aspect of God, which is most gifted one, and invested, if you want, with the power to guide us towards the ultimate, the supreme. And this is a concept which is unique in Kashmir Shivaism, and it's also unique in Tantra, in genuine Tantra. And the only reference to God as having a supreme reality, as a cosmic or supreme father of all beings, that is seen in Christianity, and again to have this aspect equivalent with what is called in Christianity God the Son. Yeah. So when you say Shiva, the equivalent in Christianity is God the Son. Yeah. So it's also called Paramashiva, the Supreme Shiva. So we have this God, if you want. So we have this concept of God the Father, like in Christianity, which is called Paramashiva, yeah, and God the Son, it's called Shiva. No. So and then we have the concept of God the Holy Spirit, which is represented here by the Supreme Shakti, the supreme power of God, Parashakti, if you want. So again, all these are not speculations. They are really a lot of people who really study these aspects. So it's the God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit, the triad. Yeah. So and this name in Kashmir Shivaism is called Trika. Yeah. So it refers to Trinity, the Holy Trinity, which is again exactly the same mentioned in Christianity. Yeah. And again, how it's not just one of the many gods represented in the Hindu tradition. It's again the most gifted aspect of God, who is really guiding us if we have a pure heart. And it's seen also as a transparent window, if you want. So through Shiva, we can see Paramashiva. Even in Christianity, we have that through Jesus, you reach to God, right? So that's again the parallel. And if you want, if you can, it's not something abstract, because it can be something very practical. There is even something which is called the Shambhava Mudra, so the gesture of Shiva. And in this practice, it is not so difficult. We really learn how to really abandon ourselves, to surrender to the divine. Yeah. And in this way, we actualize that link, that connection towards the supreme aspect of our being also. So if you it's above all the personal experiences. It's all that we know at all the levels of our beings. Again, above all these experiences and realities that we are more or less aware, we are also very much interconnected. Yeah. So we are connected with the others, yeah, through non-locality, if we actualize it, and we are also connected with this supreme source, if you want. And we wouldn't exist if we wouldn't have this dynamic link, if you want, between our personal universe and this source. And these links exist all the time. And if you want, we are a dynamic entity evolving in time and space. And this link and connection is really actually modifying each second. But again, each time we can reconnect consciously with that source. So there's this way which is in front of us, no matter that we pass through moments of sufferance, through moments of bliss. There's really a way right in front of our nose how we can really unite right now with how we call the supreme or the archetypal one. Yeah. And so there is this attitude which is called Shambhava Mudra, which is exactly the attitude through which we find this way. We rediscover, we actualize this link in the here and now. Yeah. And briefly now, because we don't, so we don't have so much time now, but we really do it in our university as a practice. So it is something which can be practiced in every life situation. Yeah, in absolutely every life situation. It is the idea is first to understand what that means to really completely surrender to God. Yeah, because again, it seems poetic, but it is actually also practical, and it implies to really abandon ourselves entirely and unconditionally to God. And this should come not just out of curiosity, but out of pure aspiration, not out of some personal desire, like I want to get enlightenment, so just I found about this method that it's all good. It has to be something in your heart. So obviously people who are more into bhakti are, for them it's easier to practice in this way. But again, it has to be done without personal desires, but in the same time, not with indifference, not without caring of what we are doing. We need to be fully in this attitude of self-surrendering to the divine, but in the same time, not in this way that we have this personal desire. So it involves to offer to God all that we experience in that moment, any moment. Yeah. And again, from our perspective, we enjoy some experiences, and maybe we are not so proud of some tendencies that we have, but again, from God's perspective, everything is light, everything is really perfect and non-dual actually. So all that exists right now in our consciousness, thought, feeling, perception, gesture, everything, you need to be able to really offer it completely as one without thinking. So the offering is not sequential. So let's see now what is in my consciousness. You make a list which will never end, because the list will always be changing. So you need to offer it only globally in an instant. What is here, right here and right now, not letting the mind to find what is there. This actually, it's a supramental approach. We have also methods who help us prepare and trigger the supramental experiences. But again, if you do it with your mind, this is not about the supramental. It's not this Shambhava Mudra. Yeah. So again, how to practice something with a supramental level of awareness. So again, we need to be ready to do this offering in a global way, in simultaneously. We offer everything, not rather this or that, yeah. So it's a complete awareness, first of all, of what is right now inside of us, and only that you can offer what is right now. You don't offer a future state or a past state, so it's not about imaginary things, okay. So it's implying certain some quality to be able to really surrender completely the content of our consciousness, to not keep nothing, and even if you're not proud of it, so because the idea is that if it's not total, it's not enough. The second condition would be to do it fully unconditionally, in full freedom. So it's not about imposing or asking conditions. So again, it's not an exchange between us and God, it's not a bargain there. Yeah. So again, fully unconditionally. And then the third condition, if you want, is again, it can be more difficult in the beginning, but this offering has to have a very particular nature. It requires an identification. So kind of when you offer everything, you also let yourself completely identify with God. So this would be the keys. And again, if you want, you can stop the recording, and simply it doesn't have to take a lot of time. You close your eyes, and everything that exists here and now in your awareness, in your consciousness, in your present moment, you simply offer it, maintaining and paying attention again to about these conditions. You can, if you want, you can pause and repeat the recording so that you understand clearly. And again, remember that you can do this. It can transform even a state of sufferance like that in a few seconds if you're able to do it. And also, again, eventually, if we do it more and more, it is one of the methods that can help us awaken the supramental level in our being and more prepare us for those quantum leaps, which are nothing but manifestations of grace. Amit?
Wonderful. Um, what should I say? This small phrase, Shiva's dance, when unpacked, creates an unparalleled understanding, a deep dive into everything. And if practiced properly, as Professor Goswami set forth in the beginning, and as Valentina followed it up with the parallel with Christianity and, say, Hindu traditions and life itself, if it is done properly, this can unlock ways to a life which is beyond imagination currently, for most people at least. And as Valentina also pointed out, that in our organization, the course that we have, the master's and PhD degree that we offer in collaboration with University of Technology in Jaipur, India, which is a properly UGC accredited institution, we not only talk about Shiva's dance, of course, it is a part of it, but we talk about a whole lot of other things then that can completely change the way you look at the world and you conduct yourself. If you want to know more about it, please visit our website www.amitgoswami.org. And if you have anything to ask, feel free to contact us on info@amitgoswami.org. We will answer to you promptly. Now, to wrap it up, over to Professor Goswami once again.
Thank you, Krishna. Okay, to remind that again, once again, this is the Shiva Nataraja, king of the dancer, and couple of things. The usual interpretation, if you open up google.com, you'll probably find the explanation as destruction and creation simultaneously. Don't use the word destruction. We use the word destruction because it's not destroying what is old. It is restructuring it because the old always develops some garbage with it. That is the nature of the old. And we have to throw away the garbage so that the old becomes dynamic again and then it can be used. See, old is ego. Your ego is not all bad. It has all the what is necessary for manifestation, what is necessary to give a creative idea form. Ego has the ingredients, all the ingredients for it. That part you want to keep. But ego also has coverings, like a dark cloud covering up all those access to those ingredients that you need. And that's what has to be destructured. That's where you want to rebuild to the society because society has been covered by these ingredients that we cannot access anymore. And that's what needs to be thrown away. This is why the rebel has to struggle, stomp out all that is against my journey and simultaneously look for the new to rejuvenate that creative spirit and reconfigure one's purpose of life. Embody meaning and purpose, exploring the archetypes. This is what we all should do. So I'll end up with, please forgive my voice, it's not so good, but the spirit of the chant is wonderful and it is very energizing. So if you want to chant with me, you can. We'll end with a Shiva chanting. The energy of Shiva, energy of destructuring and restructuring the creativity within us. Om Namo Shivaya, Om Namo Shivaya, Om Namo Shivaya, Shivaya Namo Om. Shiva, 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 Shivaya Namo Om. Stay with me. Om Namo Shivaya, Om Namo Shivaya, Om Namo Shivaya, Shivaya Namo Om. Shiva, 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 Shivaya Namo. Thank you all. Happy New Year again.
Thank you so much for being with us. This, if you do it with proper gutsu, you will immediately see the change in energy level in you. Wish you best of luck for 2023. See you next week. Bye bye.